All right, so right now we have this pattern set up. I'm going to start with the 5 ball to try to come over to the 7. And ideally what I'm looking for is my 2 balls, my last ball. So I want to come back around, spin this 3 rails, and hopefully have an angle on the 2 that takes me naturally to the 8. So that's what I'm looking for, is a natural angle to the 8 ball. Here I got pretty good and able to make it. Now, when I play with little patterns like this that I see online that people post, what would you do here? I like to set them up more than once. I like to just run through them over and over and over again. Sometimes I pick different patterns, but in this case, I really like this pattern. Come over, I know I got to miss that 8 ball. And now what happens when I'm a little more straight? In this case, I choose to draw it back instead of coming that 3 rail path. So that's kind of what I like. I have a couple of options. Here I'm a little more straight on the 2. I'm definitely going to hit that long rail, which actually works out a little better for getting a good angle on the 8. Wobbled it in because I was rushing, but that's okay. Set them back up. And so picking the 2 ball as my key ball for the 8 ball, because you can see how I can naturally drift down to the 8. Imagine trying to get on that 8 ball from the 5 or the 7. You could, but you'd probably be shooting a shot towards the side pocket most likely. And that's hoping that you get straight on one of those balls so you can just stop shot for that. Here I'm getting a little reckless, so let's just start that over. Yeah, you know, if you have a stop shot on the 5 or the 7 as your last ball, you got the 8 to one of those side pockets, but the point is pretty big on those, and you might not get straight. You might got to move the cue ball. So I just like the 2. It just gives you don't have to work to get on the 8. So again, I just spin around. And sometimes I got to decide, do I want to go into the rail, that long rail, or do I want to check the ball like I did there with a little right spin? So it just floats out mid-table. So as I go through these, I'll be thinking about that almost every time. Do I want to check it with right spin, or do I want it to actually push up into that long rail? Let's see what I do this time. You notice I got about a 15-degree angle on that 5. What I should be thinking here is if I was dead straight on the 5, it'd be hard to get on the 7. And if I have too much cut, it's hard to get on the 7. But you see there, I had such a shallow angle that I bumped the 8. I wanted to see if I could bank out of that, and I couldn't, so time to set back up. So I think what I should have learned on that one was that if I had a wider angle on the 5, it's easier to come around to the 7. Here's a good wide angle. And I did it, and I got a good clean bounce, and so now it shouldn't be too hard to just spin around for the 2. Boop, boop, boop. Now you can see why I wouldn't want to hit that too soft, because you'd have a hard cut in the 2. This is pretty ideal. Let it hit that rail, let it bounce out, and you come out really good for the 8. There's ways that you can have a mistake getting from the 2 to 8, playing that rail, and that's if you accidentally put some spin on it and the cue ball ends up catching that spin off the rail and it just gears off that rail and really moves, really whizzes around. Here I got a shallow angle, 10, 15 degrees. I might have trouble getting over there again. I had the 8 on the spot. If it wasn't on the spot, I would have clipped it. So here the draw works again because I'm straight. And working off that long rail gets me really good. And I miss because I'm rushing. So let's set it back up again. Again, I have a shallow angle. I might clip that 8 ball in this one. Oh, I put a lot of spin trying to avoid that. So that's the consequence of having such a shallow angle. Now I gotta try to do something. Maybe try bank it. That worked out okay. And you're back in pattern. So you see, if you shoot this enough times, maybe it fixates in your mind that there's a pattern, that's a pattern that you might want to try to do. And if you get out of line, can you get back in line? In line means when you get to that 2 at the end, you just have that good angle where you just get to clip its edge softly, let the cue ball roll where it needs to roll to have a great shot on the 8. Here, it's a little wider angle. I should be able to get this okay. Almost clipped that 8. That's what put me on a path for the straight draw shot. So, you can see you're starting to learn, some nuances of this pattern. All right, let's set it back up again. And at this point, I have it in my mind, I'm committed to trying this a bunch of times. Like, I feel like this is how learning happens, is to repeat over and over and over again. I normally don't get balls stuck in the track of my table. For some reason, this happened. This was like the first time, so that 8 ball should be popping out now. I could hit the 8 on this. I think I have enough angle. It looks good. And now I don't end up straight because I hit it softer. So it was a little generous. Kind of underhit that a little bit. So the question is, I don't think I can hold this ball. I might have to go up and down and just let it roll. And I picked that speed beautifully. Let's see, I think I'm still at about that 15-degree angle. This is a little bit on the wider side of that. This should be okay. I did clip the 8 though, so it makes sense. I'm near that draw angle. I might still go 3 rails and just really punch it with a lot of spin. Here's probably a baby clip. Yep. I might have had some outside English, just check it up a tiny bit, but only a fraction of it, not a lot. All right, set her back up again. Looking a little bit wider. I think I could have gone a little wider yet. But just enough to miss that 8 ball. Spin it around 3 rails, and we're at it again. I like catching that extra rail at the end, that 4th rail. Here it's getting a little aggressive, but it is okay. If that would have caught funny, that cue ball could have went whizzing up table, but it didn't. So now, set it up again. Not much angle there. The 8 ball could come into play. Just missed it. And that's what left me with an angle for a draw shot. See, if I gave myself more angle on that first shot, I'm bouncing off that second rail and I have that 3 railer in play. I'm comfortable with those little baby touch shots and I'm comfortable with longer shots, so I guess that's okay. You can trust your ball making, that's kind of a safe route. Keep your angles by allowing yourself distance. Makes things a little harder though. Yeah. Hit that 8 ball because I didn't give myself much angle. Now I gotta do something wild. And wild equals scratch. So all this is kind of stemming from this kind of a point in the practice session where I still haven't quite learned to give myself more angle. Yeah, that might get me again. And it does. So now I'm going to probably try to bank this. And I needed to slam that ball to stiffen it up. So it went wide. Let's see if I've learned yet. Not yet. I might be able to get out of this with a lot of whizzy spin. But nope, still bumping the 8. Yeah, I'm probably going to try to cut this one. And I miss it entirely. Oh, that's a good wide angle. If I keep that angle, I'm really going to like this. This might be where I start figuring it out. Come over clean, get a good bounce, get that 3-railer back. Because I'd rather not do that draw shot. A little unfortunate to get straight. I think in this type of case, you just take what you got. You don't try to manufacture too much. Take a long shot. And at this point, my shot making is probably on the, you're in that rapid fire setup, go, 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 type of approach. I went wider. I think I've learned at this point. But my shot making could sacrifice pretty soon if I keep, just kind of stepping right up and banging at them. But at this point, you can kind of see the pattern starting to get a little more comfortable. Yep, the shot making starting to sacrifice for rushing through the pre-shot routine. Give myself that wider angle. Now we're getting closer. I don't know, was that 25, 30 degree angle? Help the cue ball come over and come under the 8. Still, if you hit it soft enough, you can leave yourself that draw angle. Probably going to catch that rail, yep. And this it kind of dudded out because I was afraid of overhitting it, but that's okay. If you got the angle, you can make the ball. Still playing a little reckless. I should have known that I shouldn't flirt with that corner pocket with a stun shot. I should just followed it, let it roll. Good wide angle. Doing it from a little closer. This should give me a good 3-railer. I got to work for the 3-railer a little bit, but it's still there. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Come out and, you keep repeating this, you're going to get a feel for it. Catch that rail, bounce out, and then you're dead in line for the 8. Slam her in. Angle's wide enough. Could come close to the 8. Nips off of it. I feel like there's still a draw shot angle probably. Cheat the pocket a little. I'm probably catching that long rail again. Kind of getting a little aggressive with it. Too much spin. I should just let topspin carry it up there. So that's why I had a back cut on the 8. But it was a makeable shot. You're playing in a match and you got that at the 8 ball, you should be happy with it. If I leave the cue ball there, that's a good wide angle. still nipped off it. I got the draw shot. 8-ball came up table, so if I have too much of a cut in that 2, it's going to be hard to hold. This could be a good time to, just run it down so I could have the 8 in the side pocket, but I still felt like hitting it soft, and for doing that, the 2 almost didn't drop. I should be coming close to the end here, maybe 1 or 2 more times. Ooh, super wide angle. At this point, I could be risking coming towards that 7-ball. So instead, I decided to go the other way. This is a shallow angle, so I'm going to punch it for that 3-railer. And this one, I'm probably just going to tap with some outside. I don't think I'm going to come into the long rail. And your speed should be just starting to dial in. And that's a practice session for that shot.